Is that Varus mid?
Yeah, I think it might even be Varus in the top lane because in the Yasuo matchup, it is favorable early on. However, with that wind wall, it becomes a whole lot more difficult because you can
What's
stop the chains of
going in the top lane?
corruption, can stop the Q. So I believe Varus will most likely head towards the top lane. You can have Xin Zhao in the jungle, maybe Saheen in the mid lane, and Aphelios Karma in the bot lane. And I like this a whole lot more. Because yes, the Varus is able to poke out, but the Aphelios is absolutely able to bully the living hell out of that Kai'Sa early on. My only concern though is can the Aphelios and Karma actually do enough to get towards the level 6? Because level 6, Kai'Sa, Wukong, and Nami is much more threatening now, especially with Varus having more early game damage than something like the Aphelios would.
I definitely think both of these comps are a bit crazy, and with the Teemo last pick there from ATU, that's also putting a bit of a spanner in the works. Does stop the auto attacks coming out from Xin Zhao, does stop Phelios. Could be a
I mean, it
placeholder
stops
that we're missing
everyone.
out on, but yeah,
I mean, I think Timo realistically in any competitive game is more of a question mark because if you're a Timo player as a champion people aren't used to playing against, it can have a lot of agency. And with this Varus top lane pick, you actually have Timo as one of the best counters towards it. As how Varus top usually works is he does percentage max health damage with his W when it's empowering his Q, the arrow. So if you're never able to stack your W because you're not able to auto attack the enemy, you don't actually deal too much damage. So Timo can go in, blind him, get a few auto attacks, and get out, giving him a very strong early game and mid and late in the top side. So he really has to smash that top lane to get more priority and more use to his team than something like the Varus would.
definitely think it's going to be an interesting matchup, but I think we're going to throw it to a quick break as we get ready to get into our first game of the day, lads. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. And we are on the rift for our first game of the day between DCU and ATU with some pretty interesting picks coming out here. We are actually seeing it's Varus mid with exhaust is going to be the pick locked in for DCU there. Gonna be
Yeah,
some interesting stuff coming out here. Bot lane with the duo synergy going on of Aphelios Karma. I'm kind of loving this, but Zapdos, I'm more interested in what your opinion is on this.
yeah, because I was going to mention about this Varus pick. I was somebody who mentioned that Varus top lane was going to be very popular just because it does super well into anyone else than Yasuo. Because early on, you do win as the Varus, but later during the game, you just kind of get run down if you ever just by yourself. Fortunately, with the exhaust, a lot of those issues I had have mostly been patched up and worked out, and the team are just amazingly well into the Varus, so it does make sense for the Saheen to be up there instead. Someone who does get bullied out by the team early on, and mostly during the whole game, but there will come a point at 2 items if you get yourself enough magic resist where you don't win out in the fight, but you kind of don't die as well. So big fan of the change. DCU in a very strong position. They've mostly gone for a poke comp focused around this Aphelios and bot lane and the Varus in mid lane with that early game priority. So what I want to see is some big game aggression against the Wukong in the jungle and especially towards the bot lane, as Wukong's one of those champions that needs to get level 6, same with his bot lane, before they can really do much this game.
Also, just gonna point out to you because I don't think it's... Yeah, I just found it there from looking at it. That's on hit Varus mid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love it as much as a Lethality Varus or Halo Blades. The main reason for that is, who are you realistically here for time? The best chance you have is the Wukong clone, honestly, before anyone else is there. Because once you get 3 attacks out, most of these guys should most likely be dead if your team's hitting them.
Kind of shocked at the on hit Varus mid. I think the whole tech I kind of saw what it was everyone's squishy, take Varus lethality mid, and you're dealing with Kai'Sa, Yasuo, and Teemo.
Yeah.
That is quite an interesting statement to go on hit when you already have a Aphelios who does a similar job that you do. Like, realistically, you're not autoing anyone past 3 autos. So in that case, when having the WQ for the later fights or even just for the mid game, just be a lot better. But yeah, no, we'll have to see how this shakes out. But already we can see, again, Yasuo not having the best time. He's already down 12 CS, and actually going back to the game against UCD, or Deluge had a really tough time against Chinese Man and then against Lozy in the mid lane. So it's, yeah, he was really struggling. So it's going to be interesting to see how this happens in a different matchup where he is playing against a different mid laner. Not familiar with SNH231's plays, but we'll have to see how it kind of shapes out, really.
Yeah, but all these lanes shaking up how we're expecting with Aphelios and Calm again to the bot lane. I do have to give a big, big congratulations to ATU's bot lane. They've been able to not take too much damage so far in the game, healing it up nicely with the Nami W. But take a look at this top lane. The wave is actually pushing away from Voltic, and the main reason this is dangerous is Wukong has been pathed towards the top side. So there's a possibility here.
He's already gone down, unfortunately, and I was only thinking this matchup might not be too good when you're playing a heavy auto-based top laner into Teemo, as a lot of them go.
Yeah, he did have that teleport available, and he wasn't expecting that amount of damage, especially with the Ignite as well, so the first kill will go over towards Teemo. And the problem is, with this matchup, it takes you a little bit of time to be able to catch enough magic resist and take enough damage to die. If he keeps slowly losing more like he is already, he might never get to the point where he's able to survive that top lane.
Yeah, and I mean, Teemo came back with the recurve bow already, so already making moves upon the rift. So I'm a bit worried for Zehen here. I mean, obviously he'll do a lot later on, as pretty much everyone in Masters plus solo queue and a lot of the pros have shown. He's a pretty strong champion. It's just, again, piloting this champion against something you're not playing into quite often in the Teemo. And if he's familiar with Teemo, that does make it a bit more difficult. So we'll have to see if that shakes it.
Now, OBK, there's one thing I love commentating with you, because as somebody who is a Masters player and has been around many Masters players, you make us seem like we're some incredible, really high talented people. We're really not. A Masters player can easily lose to people below them by just being a kind of idiot.
I agree with you there, but at the same time, it's going to be variance in it, because you're talking rank discrepancy. So SNH321, I believe, might be Emerald, and Teemo is, or Yasuo is Silver. So just going off rank alone there is a bit, that's at least a, what, 400 LP discrepancy? Maybe more 800?
Well,
so that's a lot of games.
That Yasuo is very comfortable in this early game. He's down 10 CS, not going to be too happy with that. So we will be having a fight.
Yeah, and Yasuo looking to go in here, looking to take the fight onto Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao looking to get away, flash is blown, and he gets away safely.
And I would call that a mid lane diff. Doesn't matter what rank you are, if you're the first mid laner there, you're going to be able to help out your AD carry and do so much. Because Voltaic it's not having fun in this top lane. Every time he goes for an auto attack, that's at least about 1/10 of his HP going down. Should be able to get level 6 of this, surviving just a little bit more, but with no teleport available, if he gets getting chipped out like this, his Teemo will be able to get a few tower plates and be up a decent bit of gold on him.
Look at Kai'Sa. Here comes a big fight coming out. The bubble does not connect. Karma blowing the heal. Trying to flash away there, gets used by the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa has nothing up, and Aphelios picks up a kill. In response, can a kill go over to ATU? No, they don't. Aphelios, by the skin of his teeth and the healing by Karma, just about stays alive.
On top of that, you had the barriers mid lane.
Mid lane, something's going on here. Nice ulti coming through, but I don't think it's going to stop the Varus as the E comes out there. Nicely done.
Yeah, flash.
Wukong going in. Keep an eye on this Aphelios health bar. He does have red gun, and he just about gets away. That's the third kill by the skin of his teeth. Aphelios 3-0-0. Gonna have a nice little recall.
Yeah, DCU winning both in the mid and the bot lane as expected, and maybe up top lane if he's getting the help.
And you see some engagement going in. Teemo gets taken out. And yeah, Xin Zhao is just doing a lot of work against the Zehen here. Trying to do something back in response. Can Teemo get out? No, he can't. It's going to be a 1-for-1. So 5-2 now in favor of DCU.
Yeah, the blind wasn't available in time, so the Teemo will be going down 1-for-1 like you mentioned. But DCU very happy with the game. Mid lane winning that 1v1, that exhaust coming up clutch. But I have to say how well this bot lane fight played out for DCU. The flash forward from Karma, making sure to lock down the AD carry even though they flashed away. And then afterwards, the perfect gun, getting that white gun, dealing extra damage, going quicker at low HP. Was able to use it and get a lot done for his team.
Varus doesn't have the chain of corruption, but he does force the Asphalt flash out. That is good for him.
Yeah, we're going to be having an on-hit various of the Varus, the one that deals the most amount of burst damage compared to lethality. So if Yasuo ever uses that W wind and doesn't get himself out to safety quickly, you could see exactly what Varus can do. He could just walk around the wind wall, run you down, auto attack you 3 times to press his passive, and of course press the attack. And with that, going to deal a lot of damage afterwards. So DCU with themselves a 2,000 gold lead, and showing that they're a team not to be messed with. Remember, if DCU win both games here today, they're going to be 1-3, pairing up with ATU and one other team here in the Irish Collegiate Series. Gives themselves an opportunity to get into those playoffs.
Yeah, and looking at the Varus build as well, he's going on hit Varus. He's actually going AP on hits. So he's going Dusk and Dawn and going into Nashor's Tooth. So He's actually thinking, geez, Karma might not be enough AP, which I actually do respect. At least he knew, okay, if I'm going on hit, he's just going to do AP Varus, which is actually fair. I actually respect that a lot more.
And I like as well that he's gone for a bit more HP. The unfortunate thing with Dusk and Dawn is it gives you that. So if Wukong and Yasuo try to burst him out with that exhaust, there's a chance to stay alive.
Meanwhile, look at this gank going in here. Unfortunately, Aphelios may have just overstepped a bit. And that was just a nice clean gank coming out there from Wolfveer.
Yeah, great job using the invisibility. No one noticed it as they're just so far pushed up with this bot lane.
And here's the Varus. Doesn't have the Chain of Corruption up. Still going to go in. The bubble does connect. But Wukong going to get stopped. And looks like ATU going to get out of that one safely.
Yeah, no arrow here from the mid laner SNH. Because of that, gets him out to safety. And no one else will die. Dragon's coming up in a minute 40. First one did go over to ATU. So there's a possibility for them to try and fight for that. And in this early game, we're expecting it to go DCU's way. However, the longer the game goes, the more damage this Yasuo, Kai'Sa, and Wukong pairing will have. What they need to look for is these mid-game skirmishes. Try and look for 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3 to win out one.
I think Yasuo might have just fallen for the bait there. I think he was thinking of going in there. Luckily, I don't think anyone got spotted on the ward, but he just had a premonition there that someone was going in. So eventually they stopped it. But yeah, now he's going to get found, it looks like. So keep an eye on Varus with the ulti available. Something is definitely going to go down in a second as they have started the Grubbies. ATU now on the rotation, looking to take this fight. It's actually a 4v3 so far now, as Zahin's not actually the fight just yet. You see the Zinza going in, does get hit with the bubble. Varus going in, use the Chain of Corruption, it does land. Wukong clone, can't do much. Regular Wukong has no HP himself. And the kill goes over to Varus. Grubbies go over to DCU, and that was a good play.
Yeah, it was a good play coming from DCU, and ATU, they felt like they had to force that fight, looking for that mid 3 versus 3 we mentioned before. The only problem is there was no knock-up for Yasuo. Voltveer using his ultimate in that bot lane play earlier means that it wasn't available, so no knock-up, no damage. Because of that, DCU won that fight very convincingly, gaining themselves those 3 Void Grubs, but more importantly, getting their gold lead up to 3,000. Not just everyone is winning, except for this top lane.
And you also see as well, Varus has completed the Dusk and Dawn. So already a little mini spike coming out here for the Varus. So already in a good position. And I think it's definitely really important. With the Sundered Sky also being completed for Ekkozy, DCU are firmly coming on the map here. No items completed just yet for anyone in ATU.
Yeah, and it's not just him who's completed an item. Take a look at the enemy jungle. Very comfortable with that first item. It's Voltaic. No flash, no... Oh, he's just dead here.
Well, Tech actually does go down, you're right, and Teemo is really putting the Zahin at a disadvantage. And you're talking about champions who are a bit better later on. Zahin's pretty good too, but unfortunately he just needs that angle. But look at the Varus, he nearly had it there for the kill. But yeah, again, ATU have the scaling of champions. They're doing what they can do. Voltveer going in. Does Yasuo want to retake this? Doesn't have the ulti, can't help actually, and it looks like Varus going down, but no, it doesn't. And it turns, and it goes back, and that's 2 kills going over for DCU.
And Varus is just too far ahead at this point. That exhaust meaning Wukong was able to find the kill. And I did hate the play from ATU. The Yasuo tried to bait out, using his ultimate, trying to make sure that SNH doesn't back off before Wukong's there. But not having enough damage, that's another 2 kills going over to DCU. Even more importantly, stop the Dragon stacking from ATU. So yes, they could scale into the game, but with how it's going so far, they're so far behind.
Varus is pretty good late game as well. On it, Varus is pretty nice scaling. With that AP, he's going to be the main AP carry going out here for the side of DCU. I really like this so far. It's shaking out quite nicely, minus the Teemo. And I think that's going to be a little bit of a spanner, but Teemo's bit push can easily be matched by Varus.
Now, benefit is the Teemo is a short-range champion, needs to get in there to hit the blind or realistically deal any damage. And Varus is long-range, Aphelios is long-range, Karma's long-range. Zinzao could use his ultimate to physically take no damage outside of it. So DCU can deal with him very easily in these team fights. And for a team that's 0-3, they are looking very convincing in this first game. And OBK, I think it's the lag effect.
I was going to say, it's the gaming hub advantage coming out from DCU. Okay, a bit of LAN jitters earlier on there, but they're on the same page. We have the hive mind, the DCU hive mind right now calling you from the gaming hub, and they're absolutely popping off. Unless this is just like a joke of an image, like, oh, we might be here, and really it's just T1 playing
it's just
from
AI.
Online servers. Yeah, it's AI. It's an AI gaming hub, and the real DCU squad has been subbed out for Fnatic.
Well, that is important. Well, maybe not this year's Fnatic, as SNH He just disappeared. That was one item, Bowers and Boots, and he's just making that happen. But most likely is actually the real DCU. I make sure to get production behind the scenes to 100% make sure they're playing amazingly well here today. But it's just a bit of fun for them, right? They get to go hang out with their friends, have a fun time. And when you're all together, it feels like you're just a little more locked in. You know what the person next to you is saying. And if you don't, just look them in the eyes and say, hey, man, you into it and I know it.
Hold up a copy of today's newspaper. That's what I'd say back to you, Zaftos. Hold up a copy of today's newspaper on that camera and show me that's them.
Bro, we're not that old, okay? I'm surprised people know what newspapers are anymore. I saw a guy at my work today bring out the goddamn Game Boy. I felt so old when I knew.
Hey, that's a money move right there. Game Boys are expensive nowadays, and hell, Pokemon Emerald's like €200. So you know what? I respect the hustle. But you know who else respects the hustle? DCU, because look at them setting up right now for this gank. Bot lane of ATU on the defensive. Wukong's top side, they're looking to tower dive, I believe, unless Xin Zhao wants to just pull off a recall. And I'd love to see a little bit of this, because Xin Zhao definitely has tower dive potential right now.
Yeah, they do have tower dive potential, but take a look at how many utilities they have to stop this. They've got the Nami ultimate, all summoners available, and even the Kai'Sa ult as well. Best option is just to let them poke out before going for the dive.
Speaking of dives, nice ulti from Voltaic there to stay just a little bit alive there. Stops DC or ATU in their tracks doing that gank. Tier 1 turret goes down. Now ATU firmly on the defensive, and Jungle doesn't get anything for his troubles. Well, he obviously gets the Zahan ult, but Zahan's quite far behind. He doesn't have the value using his ulti anyway.
Yeah, I like this idea from ATU, knowing that your bot lane's losing, your mid lane losing. You're not going to be able to help them. More importantly, play for the place that's winning. If you can get Teemo so far ahead that he bullies out Voltaic and becomes an absolute thorn in your side on the sideways, it gives you an opportunity to maybe pull two people apart, find the pick with how quickly Kai'Sa and Wukong can lock someone down. However, wasn't able to find it just yet, as Teemo does have himself a 40 CS lead and does have himself half an item advantage, especially with those armor boots, which is an incredible buy against 2 AD carries and a Zaheen on the enemy team.
And looking at, you're talking about item differences. As Kai'Sa recalls to purchase her first item, you actually see that Aphelios has nearly got his second, which is pretty rough.
Also has his boots fully completed. As Wukong goes in, tickles the enemy support, kind of stands there, accepts what he has, but most importantly will be able to get himself that Rift Herald. Plenty of options where they can place it down. Dragon in a minute time, so most likely waiting for them. Try and get themselves some high priority for it. And it's really difficult for ATU. They need to find a pick, but they have no priority in any single lane except for top lane. And he's against the 6-0 Varus who one-shots him.
And as I just said earlier on, Teemo gets ahead, just send Varus into him. And I mean, AP Varus, he still has the WQ damage because of the AP scaling on the W. So regardless, even if he does get blinded, Teemo doesn't have any tank stats. Teemo has an Asher's Tooth. Varus has nearly got 2 items completed, and he has Sork Pen boots. Like, realistically right there, Varus is pretty much killing anyone on the enemy team right now. Okay,
and I do have to defend myself for everybody at home. Teemo does win against Varus early into the game. But Teemo does not win against a 7-0 Varus in the game, as Dragon will be up in 10 seconds time. Yasuo up here trying to clear the wave. And the question is, what can ATU do this game to find themselves a lead? Because they're not going to be able to fight for any of these dragons or any major objective. Their best opportunity is finding that pick. Push out mid lane to the best of your ability. Look for anyone on the side lane. It could be the Varus, it could be the Heen. The benefit is, Varus does have a lot of burst damage, but it's very much single target.
Definitely, and actually, speaking of crazy things Varus has done, Varus just purchased a Rift Maker. He didn't go the route of Nashor's Tooth, which is very interesting. He's just going straight AP.
Yeah, he doesn't need to auto-attack anyone. He just needs to hit that WQ, and boom, you are dead. Yet again, the team trying to hover around him. They can tower dive, but most importantly, the gold on these towers is the new season is very much built on snowballing, being able to get as many side lane as can, as a nice little dodge comes out from Teemo, most likely saving his life there.
Definitely, and I think, look, another dive coming through here is Zaheen, just trying to stay alive. Wukong trying to get something down with the Cyclone, maybe looking for an angle there, but no, nothing actually manages to come of it. And Zaheen, at the very least, although he's drawn summoners, he is drawing attention from ATU. 2 people came up and didn't get a kill. So that's already for their troubles. They're putting a champion that's not doing anything anyway, just slightly more behind. They're not getting Teemo much of an advantage here as well, and they're drawing resources that could be put mid or bot. No one can match the mid lane, no one can match the bot lane, and that's why DCU are capitalizing on it.
Yeah, and it's this really weird balancing act that ATU are trying to get right. Understanding that if Kai'Sa joins them, they lose the mid lane tower. If Teemo's up there, their mid laner is already dead again, and bot tower. So they have to leave them there. And then that means you only have your Yasuo, and with Yasuo only having his boots and some items and change, he's not actually going to be dealing enough damage to kill Sahin, even though Sahin is 0-3 into this game. So what should I do? I think the best option is to maybe one more target with you, have that Kai'Sa ult in, and then lose that tower and just try to force something on the map. And the main person I'm looking for them to try and force on is that Varus. That's a 700 gold shutdown, which could get one of their members not just back into the game, but to actually have a lead on their opponent. Their opponent isn't the Varus himself.
Definitely think so, and I definitely think looking at this team right now, DCU are in such a commanding position right now. I like what they're doing. I like the damage they're putting out here, and I definitely think in the situation they're in right now, DCU just looking to kind of close this out. Objective bounties are firmly up. Varus being chilling in the bot lane. Looking to just push it in right now, take a tier 2 turret, and realistically, they need 2 or more members to shut down this Varus. I think he's just so strong right now.
Yeah, and we can see the optimization come through from Teemo having to deal with the Varus on the side lane. He's opting for the Zhonya's second, an item which you most likely don't want to have. You do have a fight.
Yeah, something's about to break out here. Tidal Wave does not connect. Spudding, looking to get an engage on there. All summoners are available, but it does look like ATU back off of it.
Yeah, not going to be able to find too much on the back of that play. They do get the Nami ultimate and 2 flashes. I mean, next time they find a play like that, most likely will be able to find the kill. But to finish off the point I was making beforehand, the Teemo went for the Seeker's Arm Guard just to deal with the Varuses. If you ever do get ulted, you need to find a way to dodge, of course, the arrow. Just go into stasis. This is very much burst heavy. But DCU, with their vision line in the enemy's jungle, not going to be able to find any way in here, Vote Fear, without being very much spotted on 2 control wards. Will he find a way in as it's 7,000 on this Baron?
7,000 on this Baron, taken away. It's now just about to go down. DCU pick themselves up a Baron. They're firmly nearly 10,000 gold up right now. ATU firmly on the defensive side. Teemo farming up, currently just trying to match something that Varus would have, or maybe Aphelios. But as we can see, not just Varus having this amount of gold. Aphelios also has 200 CS. He's about 9.5, nearly 10 CS a minute right now. So he's got the Infinity Edge completed. He's got the item that eludes me because it was in the game before, the Storm Razor, and he's got himself some tier 2 boots. So honestly, I'm pretty. I think DC would be very happy with themselves so far.
Yeah, Teemo getting himself a tower plate in the top lane, but that's all. And you can just see how quickly everything goes down. They've got the double-lated carriers, Varus.
Varus looking to go in here, dropping the bomb, taking them all out. 2 kills go over as well as a turret. This is definitely looking like the end of the game, and I think DCU just picked themselves up their first game.
Yeah, but they still need to finish it. 3 members alive. They do have the wombo combo very low on the Varus. If they play this perfectly, they still have a chance.
They might still be able to do something here right now. They're looking to end the game. They're looking to push forward. 14 seconds on the Kai'Sa, but the nice engage there. Cyclone gets used, but actually SNH231 is destroying people. And if you look at the damage coming out here as well, DC go back in, Echo Z coming in here. Look at the Zehen. Still some are surviving. Kai'Sa is up. It is now a 5v4 for DCU. Pressure is being drawn by Zehen into the 4v4. Echo Z too low to do anything else. Now it's ATU's turn to try and do something. They take out one. Look at the Yasuo. Look at take out the Varus. Getting the shutdown. ATU, keep it up. You might be able to win this fight. They take out the Aphelios. Oh my god, Zaftos, ATU won this fight.
Yeah, there's just pure over-aggression from the Zaheen trying to tower dive 2 of those inhibitor towers, and because of that, he gets taken out, and everybody used their abilities before. The Varus flashed in. He used the exhaust. And with them not having enough damage left, the Kai'Sa just rips through all of them, getting themselves 1 kill as Teemo picks up 2. And they should be able to get themselves the Dragon on the back of this as well if they want to. And this gold lead very much still in the favor of DCU. But there's an opportunity here for ATU to maybe find a pick and get themselves handily back into this game.
Definitely, ATU pick themselves up the shutdowns, and they can also get themselves objective shutdowns as well. It's all really only an upside minus the Nexus. But again, Nexus turrets respawn as well, so it's not entirely too bad for ATU right now. So as long as they can turtle up for a while, they can hopefully kind of build themselves back into this game, wait for inhibitors, wait for Nexus turrets, but it's going to be very hard for them.
Yeah, Baron isn't up for another 3 minutes. Now, turtling up will be a little easier if you have your towers available. There are none in the mid lane or defending your Nexus. They will have to win a full 5-on-5 fight, and with this gold lead being over 5,000, it's going to be hard.
It's going to be very hard, but I think DCU think they have the power to get through this. They do have the Chain of Corruption. They have the ultis, minus some of the turrets. They're going in. In goes from the objectives. Kai'Sa actually got rooted by the Chain of Corruption, so she couldn't do anything. But Wukong picks up a kill. Varus gets taken out, but they're not done just yet. Keep an eye on DCU. You can see the Aphelios is still alive, still putting out numbers, but he eventually gets taken out. It's now a 2v2. Zehen and Zinzao. Can they take out this bot lane of ATU and end the game right here? Sustained duo, the same champion, some might say, because literally is. The kit's the same. You play one champ twice, Zapdos, and you end up with a game.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to find themselves a win here. Nami just as much as possible, and that late game fight was as perfect as it could have gone. But with the gold deficit, DCU coming out with the first game.
Yeah, DCU find themselves 1-0 up in this best of 3 fearless series between DCU and ATU, and I mean, well played there from the whole DCU squad. Well played from SNH231, who I believe is the sub for DCU. Definitely brought a different dynamic in than their previous mid laner.
Yeah, and you can see how happy they are to actually win that game. Now, the important thing for me is you can see how much they're smiling.
He noticed the camera.
Pumping ads and like, oh my god, guys, we're on stream. Hello, let's go. But you just have to question if ATU showed up like they did in that team fight a little earlier. Their solo lanes actually survived and weren't super far behind. That Varus didn't find that 5 kills early on. They would have won that last fight, as I believe this second game is going to be much closer.
Definitely think so. If you look at the OP.GG, the actual mid laner for DCU subbing is actually a Varus OTP as well. He's got about 80 games this season, so he's played a fair bit of Varus. That's something I didn't take into account when he was locked in. Again, didn't think he'd pick at Varus mid, but yeah, so definitely going to be a different pick this time around. He's not going to have access to that champion game 2. ATU actually lost game 1, I believe, or like nearly won a game with UCD, but again, that was in the second game. So I think the teams, once you kind of take a few picks away, a few more high priority picks start to come out. And I think definitely once you get rid of those initial picks in game 1, game 2 jitters. Now you got to keep it going. Now you got to lose the pick that you just won the game with. And that's where I think ATU might be able to find their way back into the series. But we're going to throw it to a quick break, lads. We'll be back just shortly to get into the second game. Well played, DCU. Hello everyone and welcome back to Ireland Esports Collegiate Series Spring Week 5 between DCU and ATU, where we're going hard and fast straight into the ban phase. Zapdos. We're already seeing some Caitlyn's, some Lulus, some similar bans from last time. What do you think, dude?
Yeah, we also got the Sivir, Bard, and Zac taken out. Now, the Caitlyn makes a lot of sense that they like to secondarily if they don't have the Kai'Sa that got picked in the first game. But Hecarim was hovered in the first game, did actually get banned on the side of DCU. So if it's up and available, there's no reason not to pick it. But now the DCU have left it open, I'm questioning if they have a counter pick. Some of the champions that DCU like to play in the jungle is going to be a Vi. Something that isn't too good in towards the Hecarim, have something like the Dr. Mundo. So they have a lot of different specialities towards it, but with the enemy jungle already locked in, I'm expecting it here, and I'm expecting most likely going to be the jungler as well. Some high priority AD carries that Ezreal, something that can give themselves a little bit more space, but I think if you have something down the Hecarim, there's a lot less to add.
None. They opt to pick no champions after. They play this one in defense mode, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. They maybe they're playing roulette. Any champion is available, just pick for us after them winning that first game. But we just have to commend DCU for how they play that game. A team that 0-3, bottom of everyone in this Irish Collegiate Series, actually picking up a win against ATU in quite a commanding fashion. Now, their playstyle was very much hard engaged of that. And Tristana very much fearing that bill and jump in whenever she needs to, but can also jump out to safety. And with that Hecarim, who's annoying if he stays on top of you, you have that buster shot to just get him out of
Definitely think that's going to be a factor. Tristana is a great champion, does scale. Ad has Ivern. Ivern can just do Ivern things around the map. Horrible to play against. And I love seeing an Ivern locked in here. And we are seeing something similar from ATU as the last time. The Ezreal getting hovered here from ATU. I do like it. Pretty good played last time. And yeah, they're going to lock in the Ezreal. Safe, can kind of stay away. Once you get your Tristana bombed, you can just make a little quick getaway. So I do like this. It's just a matter of what they want to pair with this Ezreal. Do we go the Yuumi route? Do we go for something a bit more tanky? What are you thinking if you're ATU, Zath?
I think you can definitely go for an enchanter here. Someone that can help the Hecarim, be super annoying in the backline, even having a Lulu to steal it away from the Tristana. Yes, it isn't that good with the Ezreal, but it gives you that opportunity. Zillion as well does very much fit the bill. Remember, Hecarim E is the one that speeds him up. If he sped up even further, he deals more damage. So great combination there. And most importantly, Hecarim never goes far in. Just use that ultimate and make him an absolute beast in these team.
Yeah, I was going to point out Lulu was actually banned as the third ban for phase one, so ATU couldn't lock that in there. So yeah, the Zillion or the Yuumi was probably the only two options you would go for. I get the Zillion though. I think Yuumi would have helped a lot as well because you could easy E does give movement speed as well, which did help Hecarim. But yeah, Zillion. Problem with Zillion, I find, is a lot of people who pick Zillion in these competitive games can't actually play Zillion mechanically. Like you can lock in
Yeah.
a Zillion and you think I can double bomb, but the like mid game is really where a lot of Zillions kind of get determined from the lads who can play Zillion versus the people who can actually pilot the champ well. And I think Zillion's such a precarious champion because if you do nothing on Zillion, you're kind of just a walking ward. And I think that especially it's like something like a bard. You kind of need to have proficiency in the champion if you're going to lock it in. So I kind of want to see how ATU play it out. The Aurora, obviously, we need no more. Have the little teleport and the ulti, can zoom around, is an absolute painful champion to play against. You've got Ivern and Aurora, the wombo combo of horribleness. So yeah, I think DCU really drafting a fun comp. I hope ATU are going to be having fun this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a few things out there though. Of course, we did have the AD carry Varus go towards the mid lane. This Tristana, very much flexible. This Aurora, very much flexible. Can go into any single lane here. So gives them plenty of flexibility. Now, Zillion, you mentioned beforehand, a champion that's hard to pilot, really difficult to get going. Now he does have a Hecarim who he literally has to speed, maybe throw a bomb on him, and press R. If he could do all three things, the Zillion is getting plenty of usefulness. As in the second bad phase, they will be taken away. One of those high priority picks in top lane, which is going to be the Yorick. Yorick is a champion that's very strong against mostly very squishy top laners, which is making me think they want to have someone that isn't as tanky towards that top lane. But DCU have very much gone for very much team fighting front to back comp. I'd love to see a tanky support coming out from them, something like a Leona, but they can also go the route of getting some extra shields like the Melio, trying to cleanse that Hecarim fear, and of course that Zillion if he hits that.
I'd like to see a Nautilus here from DCU. Something gets good to engage, but a disengage helps with Tristana. Hell, even something like a Blitzcrank might not go right, but again, Blitzcrank into Ezreal is not really great, so you probably want to take something else. And it's going to be the Ashe. You were
Would it?
spot on with the Tristana mid. There you go, Zath.
Yeah, I think Ashe makes a lot of sense here. Gives yourself the flexibility of using the W to try and clear it, the E Hecarim too, but most importantly, gives you the engage tool with the Ashe Arrow, allowing your Tristana and Aurora to burst out anybody who comes near you. My only question mark is that bot lane is very difficult to play Ashe into an Ezreal Zillion. You have not very much range against it, and yes, you do counter the Zillion, but I'm not sure what they can pick except for a ranged champion like Karma, and then your composition has no true tank to help that Ivan really put his shields on anybody.
I think if you're DCU right now, you lock in a Leona. I think that's definitely going to be big engaged champ, has heal, has a game changing ultimate. Yeah, I was looking at it as well as that Malzahar getting locked in for ATU can also lock down the Tristana, could lock down the Ashe. Camille getting locked in. They want to do something, maybe a 1-4, maybe a little 1-3-1 spice coming out from ATU. It's definitely different. It's definitely something interesting. And what DCU choose to lock out this comp with, we'll have to see. I'm expecting something beefy. You were saying something similar. I definitely think something akin to a Leona, if not a Leona itself, would be great. You can have the double
I mean, you've
lockup
got
of Leona
Rel,
ulti into Ashe.
Nort, Alistar, anything in that ballpark. Braum as well, yeah, is able to give yourself a lot of defensive capabilities. The only question I'm having is what's their engage tool? They have maybe Aurora Ultimate, Braumar, Crystal Arrow. There's opportunities to just not too much. But one thing we're noticing about DCU is both their compositions now have had this double AD carry threat. they ever find a lead, they could burst out these barons and finish off the games quickly. Now, ATU, I think they have a much better composition. Again, the Hecarim in combination with the Zillion, a great early aggressive jungler to get his team ahead. But once we get towards these middle late game team fights, ATU have just one. They're going to win every single team fight if they're even or ahead. Now, ATU, if they want to try and win this game, it has to very much be on these side lanes, allowing your Camille to try and catch somebody out. Having the Malzahar win against the Aurora can even one-shot her at level 11. There's possibilities here, but they have to win their lanes hard this game.
I definitely think DCU's comp is a lot better. Now, the pick potential is a lot higher for DCU because all you need is a Braum Q and either Ashe Tristana can just follow up with a few autos. So I think definitely DCU are in a much better spot later. But I think in terms of chip damage and the 5v5 fights, kind of breaking out of objectives, I really like what ATU have drafted. They can just chip and go. They can put a little bit of engage on. But Hecarim, they could hard lock on with the Malzahar. They have a lot more engage tools. Hextech Ultimatum. I like what they're doing. I think a 5v5 fight, I don't think DCU want to take it. But I think if you're looking for maybe a 1-3 or a scrappy fight for DCU, I think they're definitely in a better position. But we will throw it to a quick break, lads, as we get into our second game of the day. Please hang around. Welcome back, everyone, to our second game of the day between DCU and ATU. Zath, I hope you're still here, buddy. We are getting into some banging League of Legends. We've got some crazy picks again. And as you predicted, SNH, the AD carry player, is playing AD carry in the mid lane. And you see, he's already laying down the law and Delusion.
Yep, going to have full priority against the Malzahar in this game. Fortunately, Malzahar won't be able to match the Tristana early into the game. Needs to get at least at level 6 to lock him down. There's plenty of kill threat once we get to that point. Now, ATU was in a position where I thought, how are they going to be able to win this bot lane by having a melee support? Braum is your best option. Of course, Ezreal and the Zillion should win out, but you can see how difficult it is to actually play this. If one Q lands, you're not able to jump out, you will just get run down by this Ashe with those slows, not just from the Braum, but from the Ashe herself.
I think you're right as well. Like, look at the Braum Ashe. They're already kind of laying down a bit of the law. Obviously, the Zillion can give Ezreal a bit of move speed to get out. Ezreal E is going to be a factor at level 3. But yeah, I definitely think playing Ezreal into Ashe Braum, it's going to be quite hard for you to find kind of engage when Braum can do a lot of disengage work and Braum can kind of definitely make it more difficult. But speaking of difficult, look how difficult this Malzahar is having it in the mid lane. Already nearly going down to this Tristana, who opted to take the TP this time around, which I think he should have done last game as well. I respect the exhaust, but I think especially on like these farming ADs, having TP to get the extra few waves, use as middle CS as possible, and just scale up knowing you're winning this matchup, I think it's really nice to TP here.
Yeah, you can see Malzahar already used all of their mana to get this Tristana alone, but this was all just part of the plan for the enemy jungle to come in.
Yeah, you can see the Hecarim going in here on the Tristana. Tristana now blows flash at the very end. Hecarim takes an extra tower shot. Does not take out the Tristana! Oh my god! First blow to SNH, the sub for DCU. What crazy maneuvers.
And it's just painful. What actually happened to Voldvir there is he auto-attacked the tower instead of the Tristana, not finding the kill, not getting the triumph. Because of it, dies for his sins. So this Tristana, where everything was used to try and get them behind, has actually found themselves a lead in this early game. This is exactly what this Ivan wanted, a champion that is very weak early, but very strong once he's able to scale into the game. And so far, he's been untouched by the enemy jungler because he has prio in bot lane, prio in mid lane, and even in the top side.
Yeah, look, all mana used though for ATU's top means Aurora can't do much neither. Camille's just happy out right now. CS lead already mounting in jungle and in mid lane. So it's looking good if you're an ATU. ATU's looking okay, right? Or if you want to swap them around actually. If you're looking at the teams right now, DCU are on the red side and ATU are on the blue. It's just the switch up on the icons there. So if you keep tuning in, just so you're aware. Yeah, so meanwhile. Yeah, because I gotta notice the little details, you know. But speaking of details, Hecarim is about to make a big detail bot lane, but I don't think he's going for the gank.
Yeah, but I'm just reading what this Ivan has been able to utilize as top lane.
Top lane is looking a bit messy right now. ATU looking to go aggressive. Ignite. Actually, gets popped there. but it looks like they don't pick themselves up the kill. You see Echo Z-pathing towards this top lane as well. Maybe something will happen, but it's been very explosive so far in this early game.
Yeah, but the reason I mentioned so much on towards this Ivan is because he's so priority in every single lane. He's actually got himself a 10 CS lead on the Hecarim, as Hecarim tried to look mid lane, look for a bot lane gank as well. And if everything keeps not working out, a champion which has very good clear speed is not actually going to be able to keep up with the Ivan, going to fall behind. And then we talked about what way does ATU win any team fights they're not ahead. They just don't. So DCU could start stacking these dragons and have a very clear path to victory.
Definitely think you're right. It's a lot easier path to victory for DCU in this situation than ATU. I think DCU, especially with how much snowball potential they have, having snowball on your Tristana and on your Ashe early is very nice. And I think ATU need to be extra careful of this, especially as these dragons start spawning.
Yeah, 10 CS lead. Now, Malzahar as a champion at level 6 can easily set up a gank play, hit that ultimate down, Hecarim on top of it. That is going to be a one dead Tristana. As you can't opt to get any magic resist early into the game, as you just need that damage. Yet again, Camille on the top side hunted for Voltaic, but with that E missing, not going to be finding anything more.
Hextech Ultimatum is available for the Camille, and the ulti going to be available for the Aurora as well. It means something is definitely going to kick up in that top lane soon, and it's just a matter of how long. And you see it's about to break out right now. No summoners used. Iron's actually coming around here. The Between Worlds gets used by the Aurora. Stun comes through. In comes the Hextech Ultimatum. Camille trying to fight for dear life. Camille actually manages to escape that gank. Really nicely done from ATU, and they actually pick themselves up a dragon.
Yeah, and that's just really well played. Understanding that Camille has that hook shot, has that ultimate to get themselves to safety. And Ivan, I'm not sure you really have to make a play like that. He mostly did it because he had to wait for his camps to come back up. But it's actually given an opportunity for Hecarim not to just pick up that dragon, but to steal away the Gromp as well.
Flash just got blown by Ezreal there, and it's kind of just an indication of how this bot lane's going so far, because my god, Ashe and Braum are just laying down some moves.
Yeah, you have the cleanse available, but you can only cleanse the Braum stun, not the slows from the Ashe. Will just be able to auto-attack again and deal a lot. It's a nice Q, just lands yet again. As Ivan towards the bot side, I'm not sure if you really want to make a gank happen here. Mostly just making sure his bot lane is able to push this out without worrying about the Hecarim looking for that gank.
I like this, but they're looking for the engage. Iron cancels his recall, by the way. Passive gets popped. Look how low the Zillion is. Heal used. Ezreal ulti back in response. Oh my god, luckily Iron's hanging about. But here comes the Hecarim. Can ATU turn this into something? Onslaught of Shadows, actually not up because they're both level 5. Hecarim going to be found by the Ivern. Ashe walking a bit far forward. They're looking to try and get a kill back. Braum passive is just going to get procced as well. Stun comes down onto the Hecarim, and he's looking for the Ashe. Ashe blows the flash and the barrier, but look at this Ashe managing to just about stay alive. Braum putting an auto down, saving the fight. And you mentioned how good this Braum pick was. All it took was 2 Braum autos to lock down the Hecarim and to lock down that Ezreal.
Yeah, more importantly, that Hecarim just went too early. Would have been level 6 if he was able to stay with the team. Towards the top side, dealing a decent bit of damage up there as well. But this Ashe now with a double kill in their pocket, 2,000 gold lead here for DCU. And if DCU win here today, it's actually going to be all 3 teams going 1 and 3 and having to play again against each other to decide who's going to get into that playoff.
It's going to be a very interesting matchup, a 3-way tie. Meanwhile, at the top of the bracket, UCD and QUB both 3-0.
Yeah, as Pings will be heading towards the top side. Braum and Tristana looking up here. Award will notice them out, but does it give enough time for the enemy top lane to get out? It does seem so with that hook shot.
Yeah, I think they just have enough to get away right there. As DCU just playing hyper aggressive. They're just looking for plays everywhere. And I mean, if 1 out of every 3 plays works, that's still a win for DCU. So I really like this proactiveness coming out of them, because right now they're in a stronger position and they know it. Because look at them going in right here. Braum doesn't have ulti yet because he's not 6, so we need to get Braum level 6 to get that Glacial Fissure. Hextech Ultimatum onto the Tristana. Look at the Camille. Camille getting to do something. Their Buster Shot gets used. Tristana barely getting away, but it's going to be a 1-for-1. DCU's health bars are incredibly low as well. Tristana walks forward. Zillion's on the way out of there. Can Hecarim get out as Braum lands that Q? He's actually slowed. Double kill from the Trist. Can he make it a triple? No, he can't. Malzahar actually picks up a kill back, but Tristana eventually, I don't know how. How did Tristana pick up a kill onto Hecarim there?
He actually put it on towards the enemy well, enemy mid laner, I believe. It should have been on the Malzahar, and because Voltfear went past him just as the bomb was going to explode, he actually kills his jungler instead. But that was the perfect time for ATU to make the play. They had the level 6 on everybody that's important, and they can just go for any single person. But yet again, well played by DCU. Understand they had to find a quick engage to make this work, as they're the team who realistically, even though they have a 2,000 gold lead, shouldn't come anywhere near winning a fight here. DCU is a team that needs to scale, wants the Ivan to get 2-3 items before you're looking for any of these major fights. And with the priority coming out from the Camille, they try and start up these grubs.
Yeah, DCU now seeing what's happening. Tristana going in, does not have the buster shot, but now ATU have to retreat. Dragon not up for a bit. We've got a minute on it, so there's still time for ATU to start this. True Shot Barrage comes out, doesn't stop them taking any of the little grubbies. And yes, it's going to be DCU who take the void grubs that ATU started.
Yeah, even with the 4 members available, they won't go for that play. Malzahar, no ult for Voltfear as well. Smart idea, get yourself to farm up. This Dragon will be in 40 seconds time as mid lane. Good damage.
Look at the Tristana damage. Oh my god. And I think, honestly, he could have just walked forward and just got that one auto off. I know he would have been stopped by Hecarim, but I don't think he would have died.
Yeah, had that flash, had the W available. High risk, high reward play there. Opting to try and stay alive. 20 seconds until the next major objective. It will be the second one for ATU if they pick it up. It will be the first for DCU as top lane yet again. Just an absolute war pit.
Yeah, look at Voltaic right now, just forcing the flash out of Camille. The Between Worlds used mainly to just disrespect and lay down the law. But it does seem to work. It scared Camille off. Flash gets used. TP actually isn't up neither, so Camille's going to have to walk back top. Meanwhile, TP advantage currently for the Aurora, who gets just TP straight back.
Yeah, we'll be able to use it. Well, we'll be able to have 2 waves advantage. Most importantly as well, Aurora has an opportunity to actually run straight for the Dragon if they want to, or clear out another wave towards the top side and teleport down. So there will be an advantage to DCU if they would like to use their teleports. As Ivan just trying to clear these waves, just start a priority in the mid lane like we mentioned. Same for the Ashe in the bot side, and DCU are in a super strong position to try and start this fight.
Definitely think DCU are the much stronger side this time around. ATU forced to walk away here. We do see Malzahar does know they're doing it, so it's just a matter really of whether ATU think they can pull the trigger on a steal or maybe a fight. But with 4 members of DCU right here, it's going to be tough. Hecarim looking over the wall, 1.4k, Smite's available, he stole it! Voltfear takes the Dragon, but does go down for his sins.
They might be able to steal it, but how much do they lose on the back of this?
Yeah, look at it again. Malzahar gets taken out. Tristana gets a reset. Zillion sprinting out of there. Ashe Arrow just a bit late, but it doesn't matter. They pick themselves up at 2 kills and a dragon, or at the cost of a dragon. So DCU still end up okay off it. Now, admittedly, getting the dragon's pretty good for ATU, considering the next dragon puts them on Soul Point. But Soul Point doesn't really matter when you're so far down gold-wise, because look at these shutdowns on DCU members. You see 300 on Tristana, 200 already on the Ashe.
Yeah, and it's a struggle because we're in a Hecarim 0-3. You're so far behind, you need to go for a risky play like that. But the problem is, the rest of your team dying as well. That's a lot of gold you've handed over. And this top lane, with the winning out on that Void Grub fight and a 10 CS lead, you start seeing Aurora starting to get ahead in a very snowbally lane.
Yeah, and I mean, you see Ashe Braum just pushing him in. Currently about 40, nearly 30 CS up right now on the Ezreal. Braum passive going to get propped. Nearly has the first item completed. Ezreal forced to cleanse already. And I mean, Ezreal just walks too far forward. He needs to just be sitting under turret and queuing the waves. He can't even walk nearly into auto range of this Ashe, because look at the damage output.
Yeah, and the pressure Tristana has in this mid lane, just pushing around the map, getting the prio, heading top lane, going to be able to pick up 2 tower plates and maybe the full tower itself, as the best thing they can do is Malzahar in the mid lane trying to pick up tower plates for themselves. Fortunately, Malzahar's one of those champions that is very quick at taking towers as well, so we'll be able to at least get themselves 2 tower plates and very close to that 3rd.
Honestly, really well played there so far from DCU. Now, the turret does eventually go over again. Yeah, so it's going to be tough. I think ATU need to really knuckle down, think what they can do, and really go back to the drawing board here, because right now what they're doing is not working out. Having your jungler be so far behind as well is so difficult, because now they can just get invaded for days. Like, Ivern's in a stronger position, they can look for these fights, and what can Voltfear do? Look, nothing, as he just watches Malzahar get destroyed by Tristana.
And I apologize for saying Brawl Motimer isn't a great engaged tool. Gets themselves a kill towards the mid lane. and the flash available as well. As Courgette again dashing in, seeing if he can find anything on towards this Ashe, but with no E available and Braum coming down, there's a big opportunity for them to try and find something here.
Hecarim going to go in onto Tristana, does have the W, does have the flash. Ivern's here as well. DCU still laying down the business on ATU here. Stun comes through, Root goes down. SNH, unstoppable, pops the living daylights out of Ivern. Ivern doesn't, or Hecarim doesn't even have a first item completed. Tristana has now completed 2 full items.
Yeah, and what can you do against that? You need to find a full play with the Malzahar ultimate on top. But every time you make a look for it, Tristana's just there, ready to help out. As Ashower was trying to be used on the bot lane to kill the Ezreal, did not land, but they still found this bot lane tower. And they had a dominant early game last game. This one looks even better for the side of DCU.
Yeah, DCU. A shell of their former selves minus Rengus and their Div 1 team, but this roster really stepping up to the plate this game, and hopefully they can do them proud by at least making playoffs, because getting to this 3-way tie is crucial for DCU. Look at Ashe, laying it down like, what's his name, RNG80 Gala, laying it down like Gala right now with the auto spacing. Look at this guy go. Down goes Hecarim, Between Worlds gets used, Ashe goes in, no summoners needed, Aurora takes out 2. Goodbye ATU.
Yeah, and I love how much you appreciate Gala. You're like, you know what? I'm going to stop play-by-play just so I make sure to say his name, as very much they dominate that team fight. Expected when they're this far ahead, but a nice teleport play, a nice re-engage from the team. And you just got to feel bad for this Hecarim. He tried to make stuff work in the early game, and it keeps coming back to that first play in the mid lane against the Tristana. If he only auto-attacked there, he would have found the kill, maybe got a kill afterwards with the extra gold in towards his pocket. But Tristana in this game, and even him playing Varus in the last, have very much been able to utilize their mid lane advantage, pushed it further ahead, getting that top lane tower, and now this mid lane as well.
Again, that's another trait taken by Tristana, by the way. So Tristana is just demolishing with those E's. Flicker Blade completed, working towards that Infinity Edge. Doesn't even need it so far, it looks like, because he's absolutely destroying Wolf here. Has the W reset, pop off after popping the E, and that's a solo kill. You can't walk into your own jungle right now if you're ATU. Like, you're 0-7 on Hecarim, you haven't got your first item completed. Your camps are forfeit, brother. You cannot take any fights.
Yeah. But what can you do? This is going to be the 3rd dragon. You want to try and get it yourself. Hecarim finding a way in. But whenever he does, he just gets taken out. You can just see how many camps he has up and available. Only that Wolves and only his Gromp. And that's not enough to try and make a play with. So he needs to be aggressive like this. Now, Baron's available. And OBK, little pop quiz. What did I say DCU are very good at with their last team comp and this one?
Having fun.
Well, no, that's the gaming arena they're in. That's for having fun. No, they're amazing at taking these major objectives. Now, with the double AD carry comp, if there's any time, let's say an enemy jungler is dead, like before, it can just start out.
Were you just trying to jinx the ATU jungler there? Because right on cue, as you said, if I killed the enemy jungler got killed. That was pretty on the nose there, Zapdos.
They are so far ahead, DCU. I thought that it wasn't 17 minutes, and I thought it was closer to 20-25 when Baron actually spawns. Now, they can very quickly do a Baron, but they can also very quickly do the Rift Tower instead. They're going to be able to pick this up, helping get the Rift Tower when they want to. On the opposite side, Malzahar, poor man in the bot lane, is doing the best he can. He can E, he can W, he can Q, but not too much more than that.
I definitely think DCU are very, very, very in control here. And I think ATU need to turtle up, get little wins. They need one pick. If they can just 5-man Tristana, I think that's a win. If they can just 5-man Ashe even, that's a win for ATU. Because right now, they need these little wins to stay in the game. And especially for their jungler's mental health right now. Because 0-8 on Hecarim, about to be 0-9. This is not what you want from ATU. Tristana just going to W away. Hecarim, by the way, did use the ulti there. Used pretty much everything to try and take out Tristana. And Tristana took maybe a 1/3 of their HP.
Yeah, but we talk about little wins. Tristana jumped out instead of in. That can be classed as a win.
That is a win. If Tristana's not eating in on you, I consider that a win.
Yeah, exactly. It's the small things in life which make it fun. It's Ezreal, great cleanse there, getting himself out for safety.
Well, not so lucky for the support who just used ulti to keep him alive, because now they know he doesn't have any ulti himself. But DCU, unstoppable, triple kill, looking for the fourth, looking for the final kill, quadra kill coming out here for name I cannot pronounce from DCU, Ash. But yeah, it's gonna be 420. Call it weed number because it's 420 in the kills.
Yep, and they have dominated this game, and with the little wins we talk about, they kill the enemy top laner, but it's clearly not enough this game. Another tower goes down, should be able to pick up this inhibitor, and yes, the enemy team is coming up very soon. It seems like DCU are so committed to this win. They're going to take the safe route, get themselves out to safety, and that Baron that I mentioned beforehand not being up and available will be up in 30 seconds time, so most likely setting up for that and getting ready to end the game with the Baron in hand.
I think if I was DCU and I was having fun, I would go for the end right there. You had Rift Herald. I think Rift Herald getting another shot up there.
Right.
I maybe I'm cheeky. Obviously, I'm cheeky.
I'm defending them there.
I think
no. You do it safe because look at those bounties. 700 on the Ashe, 200 on the Ivan, 200 on your support as well. As deja vu, I think I've seen this one before.
He's actually the EU sniper. Like, this guy's like Chris Call's cousin or something hitting those Ashe arrows.
Yeah, in the exact same spot. It seems like they're mind controlling this enemy jungler, trying to just clear a simple camp. It's not enough, and they're just ripping through this with the double AD carry. Braum in the front. What a team comp you want to see in the late game. With that, they get themselves to Baron, find themselves to resets, and they could just run it down mid lane if they want to.
And Ashe just about to pick up an Infinity Edge. They don't have enough gold to do it, but Tristana did pick up an IE. Just going to make you aware of that. There is an IE completed for SNH right there. So 3-item Tristana with an Infinity Edge. Let's see how much damage 3 autos does.
Yeah, confidence coming out from him there. As the Malzahar hunting, seeing if he can find an ultimate on that Tristana. Nothing just yet, as they're just running in, trying to find any engage at this point. And their team comp, no Crystal Arrow. This team comp doesn't have the best engage tools.
Yeah, I mean, DCU right now just clearing waves and pushing and waiting for the super minion wave. Because right now, I think this is going to be the final fight of the game. 5v5, Baron and paired minion waves. They're not even going for a second inhibitor. Ashe arrow hits onto the Zillion. Look at the Hecarim looking to take out this Ashe. Looking to do his best. Look at the Hecarim trying to do something to take one member out. But that's going to be 2 for 1 in favor of DCU. Ashe takes out Hecarim. 2 go down for DCU, but 4 go down for ATU. That is going to be your series. DCU take us to a 3-way tie.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see what that means for the rest of the teams. For ATU won here, they would have got themselves in towards the playoffs, and you see the excitement coming out from them. Everybody happy in their new DCU gaming hub, winning out as this was their first victory, and with the confidence they built on this game, I see no reason why they can't do well in the playoffs.
I don't see any reason to neither, especially with SNH playing in the mid lane there now. That was some crazy plays coming out from DCU throughout the whole thing. It's just a matter of keeping the momentum that they had early, taking that win that they got there, putting it into maybe getting a playoff spot and then pushing it on, because I think definitely they have some potential there. A little bit of a spark from DCU, maybe a little change in mindset with a change in player. Change in mindset from DCU. They're really pushing them forward towards this, and I think going into this, they're looking pretty good into this playoff contention here. And going into it though, how do they compare to UCD and QUB is really the question, because your big test is what happens there against UCD. And I mean, we saw how ATU did against QUB or UCD, and UCD kind of demolished them. So, and that was going to be an interesting one. So looking how they compare there, you kind of see how the top dogs do against the little dog. And I think DCU need to kind of get their expectations in order, as going from 1-2 and 0-3 teams to playing against QUB and UCD is really the step up they really need to do if they want to do well in playoffs.
Yeah, but the double AD comp worked out. They had the Ivan, they had the front line with the Braum, and they looked unstoppable in this game. Sure, you can say ATU, not the strongest team we have, but if they could show up here, they should be able to show up anywhere. But OBK, what an incredible 2 games we had here today. And hopefully, going to find out very soon who gets into that playoffs.
Definitely something to look forward to. But yeah, definitely. It's going to be a great series. It's going to be a great one so far. Let's thank the sponsor.